Hi, I'm Chris Martenson of Peak Prosperity. It is Friday, April 3rd. Have an update here for you. Look, I've got a new piece up at the site where I'm talking about some of the things we could do as a nation. Other countries could get involved, but let me speak for my own nation. Look, it's time to begin doing things differently. And if we're going to borrow $1 trillion, let's do it for some good things, right? Look, we gave it to the bankers. All they did was basically take it for themselves. They didn't do anything else with it. So enough of that. And enough of borrowing money to build bombs and blow stuff up. And enough of borrowing money so that we can just transfer it right over to Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security and all that other stuff. Listen, it's time to invest in our future. And if we don't invest in our future, we won't have one. It's that simple. There's no way the market is going to magically give us all electric cars. There's no way the market's going to figure out how to compete with fossil fuels that are subsidized to extraordinary amounts. These fossil fuels that burn and give us carbon dioxide in the atmosphere that ends up acidifying the oceans to such an extent that oyster larvae can't grow, but who knows what else isn't growing right in the oceans. Look, people, by the time you're making decisions to continue to perpetuate industries that are killing the only place you have to live, it's time to start doing things differently. So we start talking about that. And in part 2 of that report, which is for enrolled subscribers, I really go through what are the main consequences in each of the 3 E's, in the economy, energy, and environment. Listen, in any one of those 3 E's, there are clearly things that are going to break because we're on an unsustainable course of action. You know, right now, people say, oh, Chris, oil price is low. I guess peak oil is wrong, or there's not a lot to worry about. But all you have to do is understand that the price of almost anything today is meaningless. It's meaningless because there are all sorts of interventions in the markets. The price of money itself is mispriced. So what do the prices of things priced in mispriced money mean? Not a lot. We know that governments are goofing around in markets. We know that central banks are on the preferred buying program for Chicago Mercantile Exchange futures. We don't know which central banks, we don't know how much or how often they're mucking around in these markets, but we know they are, otherwise they wouldn't have preferred pricing discounts from the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. We know that the Bank of Japan has been buying ETF and ETF futures in the Japanese stock market because the Bank of Japan wants to keep their stock market propped up. And they preferentially would be buying those ETFs in the Nikkei and other Japanese share issuances on days when they were down in price, meaning the central bank looked over and said, uh-oh, stock prices are going down, we better buy them, so that they go up, right? So what does a stock price that's high mean anymore? Well, it used to mean that the economy was doing well, there was a bright future. I will tell you now that the prices of things are almost meaningless at this stage. So the fact that we have temporarily low oil prices, let's look past that. Let's look at the data. And there we discover that companies are not investing in new oil exploration activities. We know that the existing fields are depleting very rapidly. We know we have to have a constant source of brand new oil. Trust me, in a year or two, everybody's going to forget about this temporary glut and these low prices, and they're all going to say, where's our oil? Well, listen. That's just in the energy E. There's a big story there. There's similar stories in the other 2 E's. Look, it would be wonderful, and I'm going to agitate for, and I'm going to hope that my country begins to invest in ourselves, in our future. That's what I'll work for. I'm going to plan, though, as if we're not going to do that. So those are 2 competing ideas that are going to go forward. And since we might not do the right things in time, it's time to get ready. It's time to prepare. It's time to prepare yourself physically, emotionally, financially, even spiritually. It is time for you to be ready for this idea. Big changes are coming. And I would invite you, if you haven't already, it might be full, I'll have to check, but we do have an upcoming seminar at Roe in Roe, Massachusetts, coming up April 23rd, 24th, I believe. And a lot of people are going to show up. We're going to discuss all of these things in depth. A lot of wonderful people showing up this year. Would be your chance to rub elbows with other people who think this way, who see the world this way, It's an amazing thing. It's one of my favorite times of the year because it's a small, intimate setting, and what you'll discover when you look around at all these other people, you will see ordinary, intelligent, curious, but ordinary people. Doctors, lawyers, mothers, fathers, grandfathers, grandmothers. It's just people. And the exciting part is to be around people who see the world as it really is and can engage in reality. And that's important. Not everybody can do that, but this is a fun crowd. So if you can make it to that, I would invite you to come. Otherwise, come by Peak Prosperity, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and check out what we have to offer because there is so much happening right now. I only just touched the surface of what I could be talking about right now. So until next week, I'm signing off. I'll see you then.